Well, joining me on the show right now, I will have that conversation on everything you just saw. Richard Spiropulus, co-founder, Indieview Festival, and SA Ovueraye. Ovueraye, I'm sorry, I murdered it again.
It's okay.
Founder of the Indieview Festival. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Everything you guys have done for short filmmakers. I think we've all heard about it. Arise Play, log on to the platform to see some of the movies that have been shortlisted. But I think going for the festival over the weekend really gave me a proper idea. And I appreciate it so much more now because there's so many beautiful short films out there. So let's talk about that. The festival in itself, the Food and Film Festival 2023.
The Film and Food Festival.
Film and Food, not food and film.
Yes.
I think because I ate a lot of food.
Yeah.
Film and Food Festival 2023.
Yes.
What was the inspiration behind that?
Well, this was our inaugural one. What we usually do is have a monthly festival where we do a curation of short films and we interact with the audience. At that festival, we usually have food and drinks there. My restaurant, Brooklyn Bistro, and Big Fish Cocktails, been supporting us for years doing that. The idea was to expand the brand. And Richard came on and we began speaking about doing something bigger. And the first step, well, the initial step was a big old award show. And we kind of pared that down and said, let's get out into the world and make it a film and food festival where we bring in a plethora of selections of great cuisine. We're both foodies. So
I think we all
are. It made complete sense. And then, in our organic state is outdoors. We like to be outdoors, show the films, get that feeling that comes from that, interacting with the audience. And it's a great thing when you have a bunch of different vendors there. You can have that interaction going on. We wanted to include family and have people have more things to do than just watch the films. And so we kind of did a combination of that and included the award aspect into it. So you've got film, you've got food, you've got awards, you've got recognition, and you've got a great day out. 100%.
It was definitely a great day out. So Richard, let's bring you into the conversation and speak to the award aspect, which involved nominees and showcasers. Now, for the festival, we had, I think we saw a total of like 13 films? 13 different short films, all of which were absolutely amazing. How did you select? Because I know Indieview gets a lot of films submitted, if I'm not mistaken. So how do you streamline this process?
Well, when you're trying to curate the movies, there's a lot of stuff you have to wade through. So for 1 out of every 5, you have a gem that you think should actually be screened. The filmmaker or the director of this movie needs the recognition. But I came up with something called the Indieview Blade, where I invite 3 ladies on the show each month, where we just go through a long list of movies, and then we sit down there and we hash it out. So I picked the best 2 of the Indieview Blade series that I did to complete 6, and then we rolled that out because when I started, we were rolling out movies that some directors were complaining about.
Okay.
So I decided, you know what, I'll try to use females to get a different, or women, girls, to get a different idea and scope and range as to the selection process. And I learned while we were going through the movies that some of the movies that were in there were very, very good. And they stood out over some of the movies that we had previously screened or didn't get the recognition they deserved. So we pulled those ones in, and I had them sit there, hash those movies out, and decide which one they liked. And they fought over the movies too. So, the ladies fought over which ones they liked, which ones they didn't like. So you could see that some of these films were very engaging and they were sucking the crowd. So I decided, you know what, we'll run those movies out. Some of them you've already streamed on Arise Play.
Yes.
Which, thank you very much for what you're doing, because the recognition that these movies, that these filmmakers are getting is very profound and very, very necessary. So that was the process. I'm plugging the Indieview Blade show, which is one that I do. And
well, let's not forget Adeshola Oni.
Yes.
Project manager.
Oh, okay.
Adeshola couldn't be here, but he is like an integral part of us. And he interacts with all the films.
Yeah.
He's the main point person that gets them in and goes through them, and then he forwards it to us, and we streamline what we show each month. So for this edition, after Richard had selected his, we came out through and got the other ones that will come in. He also included showcases, which were films that have just been submitted that weren't in the last year.
Yes, I noticed there were nominees and
And another thing too
showcasers.
that I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure the only movies that were up for the award show were movies that were previously screened.
Okay.
So those other movies that Shola introduced that we played, the ones that premiered or were showcased, they were not on the list for potential nominees.
Oh, yes.
So we were rewarding everyone that was on that platform for the year that we went through from February up until February coming up now, and that was the process.
So just to be clear, so basically all the nominees are currently showing on Arise Play.
Right. Yeah.
So if you maybe want to just get in tune with the conversation, you might want to get on Arise Play and see some of these short films. But in terms now of the fact that you've done the festival, you've given out this awards, it's a new year, so what next? Do the movies stay on the platform? Does the cycle just repeat itself? Because it's almost as if every weekend there's something new from Indieview and Arise Play. So how does that work?
Well, it's been a monthly.
Okay.
We have a monthly curated event.
Okay.
Going forward now, we're escalating. So the idea is to do a bigger package each month.
Okay.
And then every quarter or every half year, we'll do another film and food festival where we'll bring out a whole crowd again, have a lot of more things that we wanted to do this time.
Exactly, because there's
a
another
lot
thing
more
too.
stuff.
I was trying to also bring in art. So it was, for me in my head, it was going to be a film, food, and art festival.
I think that will be great.
Oh, it was great, and we're going to have artists virtually that couldn't be there, just showcase their stuff, either at the festival itself or whether it was virtual.
Well, that's going to be huge.
I was thinking too big with the U.S.
But that's probably what we're going to do next, though. I think, after a few more months, I was thinking every quarter or every half year.
Yeah.
Right? So that's exactly what I'm going to introduce next. The next festival, there will be art. Of course, there'll be food. And of course, there'll be film. And another thing, too, is when I thought about it, I was like, look, man, I don't know how many people are actually going to show up just for the films alone, because a lot of people didn't really understand the concept because they weren't there before.
Exactly.
So I thought food, using rising restaurants, ones that are coming up, people that needed the recognition or could appreciate the recognition that we thought were good, we decided to bring them into the festival itself, and it all worked out.
Matt, the crux of everything we're doing here is the short films and the filmmakers.
Right.
A short film is not easy. I've spoken to some of the creators of these movies. Benga Adeoti, I had him on the show a while back, amongst other great filmmakers. But how do these short filmmakers, because some of them were awarded, but with the Nigerian audience, I also noticed sometimes there is a bit of a disconnect between the films and what the appetite is out there for. Because we're used to feature-length films, we're used to a whole story.
Another thing too,
so how do we bridge that gap?
We've been dealing with a really film-centric audience, and the idea to get out of the film-centric audience in Nigeria is very adept. They know all the different aspects of filmmaking, whether it's creativity, insanity, horror, and all of that. But when you want to get global, you want to cross over, you bring someone like Richard in, so he can say like, no, this is too specific. We want everyone to love it. So what we try to do now is to get all the films together, get people to review them, as she does on Indieview Blade, and get the ones that speak directly to the Nigerian audience that they would get. There was an amazing film on there, which was a really what we would call an artsy indie film called Songs of Ovueraye. Right?
But I feel so
artsy
But the thing is, it didn't get an award.
No, but that's why
and
I feel so
it was
bad.
audience-based
That's why I
judgment.
feel so bad. Exactly. So that
audience-based.
highlights everything you're talking about now, because the response is a lot of them didn't get the movie, and it was so well done.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out a way for us to bring that movie back and highlight it properly, so people could really understand.
Because it was a great.
It was so well written.
It was lovely.
It was so well written.
And well acted by Wale Ojo
He was
as well.
great. He was
I
great.
mean, sure it came.
It was so
they didn't
bad.
pick it, but I'm like, that has to go on.
No, I strongly.
Oh, it was so bad because I felt really bad for both of them, because I mean, it was so well written.
But
when I checked out, and well shot, and when I went through the responses, I'm horrified. I feel really bad about that.
I think, to be honest, maybe because of my background, but a lot of Nigerians probably just looked at it and said to themselves, "What is this Shakespeare? What in the Shakespeare is going on?" I am done. But S.A. Richard, I've got to say a big thank you to you both, because you're towing a path that, first of all, hasn't been towed before. Not many people are willing to take the risk to shine light on short stories. So big shout out to you for bringing together this new niche, because I could tell you for a fact that the people we saw at the festival are not your regular moviegoers. These are people who are in search of something. These are creatives, and they just need something to just inspire and push. And that is what the festival and, of course, Indieview is doing. Big shout out to Arise Play as well.
Yes,
and to you who's watching, thanks for being a part of this interview.